He's standing in the corner of the room with the drink he never touches, watching the conversation like a chessboard, not because he's shy, because he's scanning, measuring, predicting who will interrupt, who will perform, who will lie for attention. Everyone is laughing at a joke he heard coming 10 seconds ago. Someone says something obviously wrong, and he feels that familiar itch behind the eyes, the urge to correct, to refine, to make it accurate. So he stays quiet, and the silence becomes a message. He tells himself he doesn't need anyone. He's built himself alone. He reads, he works, he trains, he wins in private. He doesn't chase, he doesn't beg, he doesn't do small talk. And for a while, it feels like strength, like being above the noise. But then a strange moment arrives, usually late at night, when the world goes still and success stops talking. He realizes he hasn't received a text in weeks, not a "what can you do for me" message, a real one, a human one. That's when the truth lands. High intelligence doesn't automatically create connection. It often creates distance, not because people hate smart men. Most people admire competence. What they don't like is what competence can feel like in the room, a silent spotlight, a judgment that isn't spoken but is still sensed. When your eyes narrow at sloppy thinking, when you smirk at a predictable story, when you answer too precisely, too quickly, you may think you're just being honest. But socially, you're broadcasting something lethal: superiority without warmth, clarity without safety. People don't bond with the sharpest mind. They bond with the mind that makes them feel understood without feeling exposed. And this is where Machiavelli enters the room. He would not romanticize your loneliness as proof of greatness. He would call it a strategic weakness. Because power is not being right. Power is being chosen, being consulted, being invited, being protected by people when you're not there. The brilliant man who is alone is impressive, but he is also easy to isolate, easy to misrepresent, easy to replace. In a crisis, nobody rallies around the smart man. They rally around the man who made them feel safe and valued. So if you've been telling yourself, "I just don't fit in," look closer. The real question isn't how high your IQ is. The question is, what role do people feel you play in their lives, ally, judge, or threat? Because your isolation isn't caused by intelligence, it's caused by positioning. Here's the social physics nobody tells smart men. Intelligence doesn't enter a room as value. It often enters as a threat. Not a loud threat, like violence, a quiet threat, like comparison. Humans have an ancient reflex against comparison. If your presence makes them feel smaller, their nervous system will try to move you away, even if their mouth says they respect you. Respect is cheap. Comfort is what keeps you invited. The first force is competence threat. When you're precise, when you remember details, when you see patterns quickly, people feel measured, even if you never judge them out loud. Your calm becomes a ruler. Your silence becomes a report card. In a workplace meeting, you ask one clean question and suddenly explanations get longer, jokes get louder, and the air tightens. In a family argument, you correct one fact and watch the room turn on you as if you attacked everyone's identity. What they experience is not your correction, it's the feeling of being ranked. So they protect their ego, not the truth. They start competing, dismissing, or quietly excluding because exclusion is easier than growth. The second force is the speed gap. Your mind moves faster than the room, so you skip steps without realizing it. Someone tells a story and you jump to the conclusion. Someone describes a problem and you offer the solution before they've finished feeling heard. You think you're being helpful. They feel handled. They feel like an object being processed, not a person being met. In group chats, you send the most efficient reply and kill the vibe. In meetings, you finish people's sentences and call it clarity. They experience it as being cut off. They wanted connection first, then the answer, and you reverse the order. The third force is emotional flatness. Many intelligent men use logic as armor. It's clean, it's safe, it doesn't beg, it doesn't bleed. But the cost is that you become unreadable, and unreadable feels unsafe. Humans bond through signals, warmth in the eyes, small admissions, playful imperfection, tiny moments that say, "I'm with you, not above you." If you stay controlled at all times, people can't locate you. They don't know whether you like them, judge them, or merely tolerate them. So they keep distance and justify it with simple labels: cold, stiff, robotic, hard to read. These forces show up everywhere. In dating, you become mysterious for a week, then distant forever, because you never offer a small weakness that invites her to relax. With friends, you turn hangouts into debates, so people feel like they must perform intelligence to earn your attention. At work, colleagues would rather collaborate with the average guy who makes them feel capable than the brilliant guy who makes them feel inspected. None of this is fair, but it is real. Most people don't want the sharpest mind near them. They want the safest mind near them. Now the brutal point. Some men aren't lonely because they're high IQ. They're lonely because they're avoidant, or because they've turned standards into a wall that protects them from rejection, or because they're secretly terrified of being ordinary, and loneliness becomes evidence that they're different. There's also a narcissistic twist nobody wants to touch. The lonely smart guy can be addicted to superiority. It's a sweet drug, being the one who sees through everyone, the one who never needs anyone, the one who can always say, "They just don't get me." You call it discernment. Other people feel contempt. Machiavelli would say it plainly. If your presence creates discomfort, your truth becomes irrelevant. You can be correct and still lose, because social reality isn't built on logic, it's built on status and safety. You can be the sharpest blade in the kingdom, but if nobody wants to hold you, you're useless. In politics, the man without allies is already defeated, no matter his private genius. And here's the open loop to sit with. If your intelligence is making you lonely, the problem may not be other people. The problem may be the role you've been playing around them. Once you see that role, you can either keep the comfort of superiority or learn the darker skill that creates real power, becoming someone others want to ally with. Machiavelli would laugh at the way modern men talk about friendship, not because he hated loyalty, but because he understood human nature without romance. He knew people don't bond because you're brilliant. They bond because being near you gives them something: protection, opportunity, belonging, relief, status, certainty. Call it cynical if you want, but it's accurate. Friendship is not a poem. It's a political asset. That's why high IQ men get confused. They assume that if they bring truth, insight, and competence, connection should naturally follow. But social life isn't a meritocracy, it's an ecosystem. And in an ecosystem, value isn't what you are in your own head. Value is what people feel when they're around you and what changes in their life because you exist. If your presence raises tension, your gifts turn into background noise, and you'll still be respected from a safe distance. Mistake one is subtle. You demand rare minds instead of building rare bonds. You hunt for equals like a collector hunts for artifacts. You enter a room and quietly rank everyone. Shallow, average, boring, not worth it. So you ignore potential allies, people who may not match your intellect, but would match your loyalty, your discipline, your humor, your integrity. Machiavelli would call that arrogance, wearing the mask of standards. A prince doesn't need clones. He needs allies who cover different ground, connectors who introduce opportunities, builders who execute, protectors who stay solid under pressure, and steady characters who don't fold when the weather changes. Mistake two, you confuse honesty with dominance. You say, "I'm just direct," but the room hears, I'm above you. You correct people mid-sentence, you debate at dinner, you expose flaws in front of others and call it truth. The group doesn't experience that as clarity. It experiences it as a threat, because most groups aren't trying to win an argument, they're trying to preserve face. When you take someone's face, you don't look intelligent, you look dangerous. So people stop sharing. They joke less. They become cautious around you, not because they hate truth, but because nobody relaxes near a judge. Mistake 3 is the quiet killer. You refuse to pay the social cost. Friendship requires rituals, the unglamorous labor, the pointless messages, remembering names, birthdays, and small stories that mean nothing logically and everything emotionally. It requires invitations, follow-ups, showing up when it's inconvenient, laughing at jokes that aren't genius level, letting people ramble without turning it into a diagnosis. High IQ men call this fake. They call it inefficiency. Then they act surprised when no one invests back. But humans don't invest in what feels cold. They invest in what feels safe. Now here's Machiavelli's refrain. He wouldn't tell you to become shallow. He would tell you to become strategic. You can keep your depth and still learn social engineering. The goal is not to shrink your mind. The goal is to control how your mind lands on people. In politics, the smartest man who humiliates everyone becomes a martyr, not a leader. The leader knows when to reveal sharpness and when to conceal it. He chooses timing. He chooses tone. He lets others save face, not because he's weak, but because he wants loyalty more than applause. He understands that being right is cheap and being supported is priceless. So stop treating friendship like a fairy tale where you wait to be found by people who finally understand you. That's a child's dream. Adults build alliances. Alliances are engineered around predictable value, consistency, discretion, warmth, usefulness, and shared identity. The question is never, do they get me? The question is, do we function well together under pressure over time? You don't need many friends, you need the right network. A mentor-tier bond, someone older or more experienced who expands your worldview and opens doors you can't open alone. A peer-tier bond, 1 or 2 equals who challenge you, sharpen you, and keep you honest without turning life into a competition. And a loyal inner circle, people who may not be geniuses, but they are consistent, emotionally stable, and discreet. People who don't switch up when you hit a rough season. This is how you become harder to isolate, harder to smear, harder to defeat. Yoni's what's missing, the fantasy of being admired for your mind. Admiration doesn't protect you. Admiration doesn't show up at 2 a.m. Admiration doesn't defend you when someone tries to poison your name. Only allies do that. And allies are earned through repeated proof, not intellectual performances. So, if you're alone, don't romanticize it as destiny. Ask a harder question. What do people gain by being close to you, besides the chance to be corrected? What do they feel? Safe, stronger, seen, entertained, respected? Until you can answer that, your intelligence is just a private trophy. The move isn't to lower your standards, it's to raise your social positioning without losing yourself. And next, I'll show you exactly how to do that. So here's the strategy, not therapy, not be yourself advice. A Machiavellian protocol for becoming warm without becoming weak. Because if you stay isolated, you stay easy to target. Lone wolves make great stories, but in real life they get picked off quietly. Step 1. Stop broadcasting superiority. This is the fastest fix and the hardest habit to break. Every time you correct someone, you're telling them, I'm above you, even if you're right. So replace correction with curiosity. Ask one question before you offer one conclusion. Instead of that's wrong, try what made you think that. Instead of Here's the real answer. Try interesting. How did you land there? This does two things. It lowers threat and it gives you information. Machiavelli loved information. The man who asks questions controls the room without looking like he's trying. Step 2. Control your edge. Be sharp in private, smooth in public. You don't need to dull yourself. You need to manage where you aim the blade. Public humiliation creates enemies. Private clarity creates loyalty. Let people save face. Let them feel like they arrived at the idea with you, not under you. This isn't cowardice, it's power. A man who needs to prove he's smarter is insecure. A man who can soften his edge on command is dangerous in the best way. He can walk through rooms without triggering resistance. Step 3. Create repeated contact. Friendship is not a magical connection. It's frequency. You don't build trust through one deep conversation. You build it through repeated, low-pressure exposure. The mistake intelligent men make is waiting for meaningful moments. And those moments never arrive because you never show up enough for meaning to grow. Schedule rituals, weekly gym session, monthly dinner, 10-minute check-ins, a shared project, something that makes contact automatic so you're not relying on mood or inspiration. If you want allies, you must become a recurring event in people's lives, not a rare appearance. Step 4. Choose allies, not fans. Fans admire you until you disappoint them. Allies stay because your values align and your behavior is consistent. Don't optimize for intelligence alone. Optimize for loyalty, stability, and discretion. Look for people who keep their word, who don't gossip, who show up on time, who handle conflict without theatrics. A brilliant friend who is chaotic will drain you. A steady friend who is average will protect you. Machiavelli would take the steady man every time, because steadiness is how empires survive. Now the identity shift. Stop trying to find people worthy of you. That's ego wearing a suit. The real goal is to become the kind of man people feel stronger standing beside. Not because you flatter them, but because you're reliable, composed, and socially intelligent. When you walk into a room, people shouldn't feel examined. They should feel upgraded and understand the cost if you ignore this. Your isolation is making you weaker. It makes you easy to misread, easy to smear, easy to corner. The smart man who stands alone is easy to break. The smart man with allies becomes untouchable. In the next video, I'll show you how to spot false friends and parasites early, before they attach to your life and drain your momentum.